All right, hello and welcome everybody to the very last ArcGIS User Seminar, Amplify Your GIS. We're really excited to have you all here. It's been made virtual, so thanks for joining us. So today, your host, myself, I'm Alessandra Milliken. I have been with Esri for about 3.5 years. I work on the natural resources team and I manage our renewable energy industry. And I also have Zena.
Hi everyone, my name is Zena Pelletier. I've been with Esri a little over 4 years. I am a solution engineer. I work on the state and local government team in San Antonio.
So a couple housekeeping items for today. These were live in person, so at this point I would tell you where the bathrooms are and how your parking would get validated. Hopefully you have all of that figured out in your own house. Please note that your line is muted, so I know most of us, if not all, are working from home. Don't worry about your kids or your pets or your cat snoring or anything. This webinar is being recorded, so we will distribute this recording in a couple days, and we also have our full-blown presentation that will be on YouTube as well. We do have a few polls, so your participation is highly encouraged. And if you have any questions during this presentation, please take advantage of the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. The benefit of having this virtual is that if you have questions that pop up during our presentation, we have moderators who can help you with that. And then we also have closed captioning, so you'll notice subtitles at the bottom of your screen. So we want to note that today's content is an abbreviated version of the in-person user seminars held earlier this year, but we definitely do still have a packed agenda. So we will take a break for question and answers at the halfway point. Again, feed them into those chats. We have moderators who will address them specifically or, over that Q&A period. And I just want to introduce our moderators for this session. So we have Sarah Lynn Madrid. She's the Global Business Development Event Specialist. Will Myers and Harry Moore, who are Solution Engineers Extraordinaire. So thank you all for joining us. We understand this is kind of a weird new normal. Hopefully this provides you some sense of normalcy and helps you take advantage of your Esri software so you can amplify your GIS. So before we get started, let's have the very first poll question. We want to know where y'all are from and what industry you're in. So I'm launching that right now. You should see that pop up on your screen, and we'll take about 30 seconds to take in those votes. Awesome. So let me share those results with y'all. We have a lot of state and local government on the call. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tied for second, it looks like federal, and all my energy folks showed up, so thanks for joining us. We have consulting, education, hospital, insurance, real estate, and others. So thanks so much. We really appreciate you participating, and hopefully these polls keep you a bit engaged and a little bit of fun since we can't be there in person. Okay, so back to our theme of the ArcGIS User Seminar, Amplify Your GIS. We all know what the definition of amplify is. So if we picture a single raindrop on the surface of a lake, when that drop hits, you see its impact on the water, this concentric circle rippling outward. The buffers get larger and larger. So we want to talk about how you can bring that same effect with GIS as the raindrop into your organization. So again, why are we here today? We definitely understand that circumstances have changed and that we're all adjusting. So again, truly from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for making time and joining us today. We're all dealing with this change of pace in operations, but we do hope that you find today extremely helpful and that it provides you some sense of normalcy. So we are going to help you discover what's new with ArcGIS, maybe network with your peers, have some fun, get inspired, and learn how to be more effective every day with your Esri technology. And like I said, this is being recorded. We will provide this recording after, but feel free to take pictures, post on LinkedIn, show your boss that you are working today, that's highly encouraged. Okay, so before we get into specific products and workflows, it's always important to review and understand Esri's product strategy to support the expanding geospatial community. The focus of our project strategy has been on GIS and ArcGIS products, which support the GIS community and rapidly growing online mapping community. So in the past recent years, we've opened up ArcGIS even more for developers, making it easy for them to extend and build on the platform. We are also creating a new kind of systems, geo-enabled systems. So these are independent solutions that build on and work with your GIS, and they focus on the workflows and capabilities needed by specific user groups and deliver them via easy-to-use experiences. We refer to all of our work collectively as the Esri Geospatial Cloud, which is available both as software as well as software as a service or SaaS. So the idea here is that anyone can be a GIS user, and as you amplify your GIS, you can utilize any of these products to meet the individual's needs. So another key concept to understand is that ArcGIS is a comprehensive platform. It's open and services-based, it's distributed and extendable, and it supports not only large organizations and teams, but also individuals in that. So as I mentioned earlier, in addition to ArcGIS products, we recently introduced geo-enabled systems. So they are independent solutions designed to support focused workflows like indoor mapping with ArcGIS Indoors, community engagement with ArcGIS Hub, urban planning with ArcGIS Urban, mission awareness with ArcGIS Mission, and even business intelligence with Business Analysts. So the great news here is that they can be implemented with or without an enterprise GIS. So let's get to the fun part. Let's get started with what's new in ArcGIS. I know we get these questions all the time. So ArcGIS Pro is widely used and broadly adopted now. We've made many improvements like additional parcel management tools and interactive suitability modeling. We have also introduced new capabilities like replication workflows and Python notebooks. Some of the capabilities we are working on include animated symbols, presentations, and GPS support. And remember, you can always keep up with our development on ArcGIS Pro by checking the ArcGIS Pro roadmap on GeoNet. And ArcGIS Pro can be extended in a variety of ways with analytic tools, specialized tools that integrate focused capabilities into your desktop world with extensions like 3D, geostatistical, image, network, and spatial analyst, or data interoperability, data reviewer, and workflow manager. So the new one, and probably my personal favorite, especially for you energy folks, is Locate XT for unstructured data, and it actually lets you discover and extract geocoordinates, place names, and other critical information from unstructured text and place them instantly on a map. So the features and improvements of ArcGIS Pro 2.5 make workflows faster, ensure data quality, and allow you to work and share more efficiently. ArcGIS Pro is the next step forward in GIS and ahead of everything else in the market. For those of you using ArcGIS Pro, you'll appreciate what's new in the latest version, and for those who aren't users yet, I think you'll like what you're about to see. So before we get right into it, I'm going to do a very quick poll. Who is using ArcGIS Pro? Are you using it now? Yes or no? Very easy. Awesome. Y'all are fast. I didn't even have to do the whole 30 seconds right then. So this is what I like to see. A lot more people using ArcGIS Pro than not, 54%. That is awesome. So we really appreciate that. And thanks for participating in the poll. Okay. So with that, why don't we jump right into it and see what ArcGIS Pro 2.5 has for us. So Zena?
Let's begin with the startup screen for Pro. You're probably familiar with this screen. And this is where you can choose to open an existing project or open ArcGIS Pro without a template, or even open it with recent projects. Today we're going to open a project template that's been provided to us from our organization. Because I'm signed into my ArcGIS Online organization, I'm able to log into my groups and I'm able to open a project template that's been provided to me. Now, why would I use a template? One reason is because I can take advantage of all of the things my organization has set up. I'm able to have specific maps open. I'm able to see any toolboxes they've added for me, any database connections, any specific layouts that might be unique to my organization, along with specific styles that they've made available, connections to folders, and also specific geolocators that are specific to my organization that can really help me save time and also save money. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at editing and some improvements to make your work a little bit easier. Here we're looking at the water network in Naperville, Illinois. We're going to go ahead and look at one of the very first tools. That's one of my favorite, actually. The find and replace. First, you need to choose the column that you want to look for. Let's say I want to look for fire hydrant 122. Now at this point, I have the ability to match the whole field, match the start of the field, and match the case. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I see I've been returned 11 results out of my 1,300. At this point, I have the ability to step through each one, or of course, take a look at them all together. Another really nice part about this, it's two parts, right? I have the ability to be able to change my titles. Let's say our organization has decided they no longer want to name the fire hydrants by FH. They want to start naming them with HYD. So of course, this could be very tedious as I have over 1,300 assets to make those changes to. So to take advantage of this, I can either do it one by one with the replace tool, or I can choose to change them all right on the fly. So at this point, ArcGIS Pro is doing the work for me, making those changes and utilizing some of the rules that we've set up ahead of time. Great, now all of my assets have been changed with the new asset title of HYD. So let's continue on. Another new enhancement is the ability to take advantage of being able to use templates. I need to be able to add in another new fire hydrant line. Because I've opened that template, I now have various things already created for me. I have a template that's been put together for me by my organization that includes that hydrant with the service line. A nice part about this is ahead of time, we've already set up some tools, some rules with attribute rules. I have domain set up, so of course I'm able to pick my manufacturer. And if I choose American Darling, I have specific nozzle diameters that apply to this manufacturer. But if I choose a different one, like Corey, I have only a few nozzle diameters available to me. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. At this point, I'm ready to go. I'm going to draw in my hydrant line. It populates right away for me, and an asset tag went on right away. Let's take a look at what happened. It's been labeled, it's been put into the correct asset group, the correct asset type. I have my manufacturer there along with my nozzle diameter. It's been labeled correctly by my asset ID, and so on. And also the service territory has been filled in for me. This all happened through the use of attribute rules. Attribute rules help me become more efficient. They utilize Arcade, and Arcade is really the ability to get the software to do the work for us. Arcade is a powerful scripting language that is used across the ArcGIS platform, like in Pro, Portal, ArcGIS Online, JavaScript. You get the idea, right? You may have already used it in Pro or in ArcGIS Online Map Viewer, where you can use it for labeling, symbolizing layers, calculating fields, or the most popular, configuring pop-ups. So in our situation today, Arcade actually grabbed the location of the hydrant, and using the values to query the service territory layer, it grabbed the territory names and then used that value to auto-populate this field in our hydrant. I can tell these rules when to run, when I add a feature, when I edit a feature, or even when I delete a feature. We can create different types of attribute rules. These were known as calculation tools. They calculated a field's value for me. However, I could have set up constraint tools for being able to check the values as they're entered, and then validation rules that can be ran against a set of features. In addition, attribute rules can also be asked to do many other things, including updating data in other layers. So as Arcade continues to get more powerful, so does the potential of these attribute rules. Let's move on. Let's take a look at some of the advancements in visualization in ArcGIS Pro. Now we're looking at the police service areas in Washington, D.C. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my crimes layer. At this point, I have about 35,000 crimes. There's so many points, it's really hard for me to come to any conclusions. I could use a heat map, which everyone's familiar with, but I want to use one of the newer features in Pro, feature binning. Feature binning is a geoprocessing tool. Feature binning aggregates large amounts of data of many point features into dynamic polygons called bins. And if you're symbolizing a point layer that contains tens of thousands or even millions of points, feature binning will vastly improve the drawing performance of these layers. So if I run this tool, it does take a little bit of time. So ahead of time, I did it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So at this point, I now have all of my data aggregated together into polygons. The rendering becomes so much more fast. Things really look good on the fly as I zoom in and out. Feature binning also adheres to any definition queries I've already set up in my data. So since I look at this data all the time, I've set up queries for different types of offenses. I'm going to run just through a few to really start to get an idea of where the crime is occurring. I can start to see certain deeper colors that indicate more crimes are happening in those areas. Now, the nice thing about feature binning, I really don't lose my original data. If I zoom in close enough, I'm able to see those points. So they're still there. I really still have the original data, but I'm making use of ArcGIS Pro and using that feature binning. So the next thing I want to do is I really need to start breaking my crime offenses down so I can get an idea of what's happening, what types of crime are happening. So to do that, I would make use of symbology. Now I have the ability to symbol one by one, but since I want to break down by offense, I'm going to select unique values. I'm going to choose the type of offense, to be able to split things out. Okay, so at this point, I have different types of offenses labeled again. And honestly, I could go through this one by one and give them a unique symbol that my organization is used to seeing. But this is honestly very tedious work. I'm going to take advantage of something new in ArcGIS Pro 2.5. I'm going to use the Match Layer Symbology to with Style. It automatically populates my initial layer for me. It remembers I was starting to break things down by offense type. I'm able to populate the style. Because I utilized that project template at the very beginning, I have a crime analysis seminar that I'm able to take advantage of. This style has been created for me ahead of time. And I'm done. All of my features have been symbolized for me, making it so much easier, and I'm ready to move on. Another new advantage I can utilize is the ability to make a new style of a chart, the calendar heat chart. I'm going to choose a date, which is the incident date. I have the ability to style it by year, by month, or week by day. I'm really kind of concerned about the weeks. And I'm going to leave it at the count totals. At this point, I'm starting to see, let's make this just a little bit bigger. I'm starting to see my days of the week and the hours of the day. I can see Monday during the afternoon, it looks like I have a high peak of crime. And it's interactive. It's relatable that I may be able to start drawing conclusions from my data. So I could actually export this now and provide this to anyone that needs other answers. So if I want to take advantage of another new capability, I can make use of something that I'm going to be able to use every day. So as I ran through these steps right now, I symbolized my offenses, I pulled it all together, and honestly, I could do that literally every day. But if I go to my History tab, and I select all of my steps that I've just done, I have the ability to right-click and add them to a model on the fly. That's going to open Model Builder for me. I'm even able to tweak these if I want to, or I can just simply save it out. I have the ability to save it and share it as a geoprocessing tool, as a web tool. I can send it right to that Python window, or even as that Python script that I'm very comfortable with. So then I can make use of this over and over again. And I can also share it with others so they can replicate my same steps. Now, another new capability at 2.5 only is the ability to be able to open Jupyter Notebooks. Inside of Pro, I now have a tab that says Notebooks. This project notebook is a Jupyter notebook that contains live Python code and provides me a visual interface that I can work with Python. I can also use ArcPy or even different types of Python libraries. Okay, so let's take a look at some other new features. Ahead of time, I aggregated my features to my police service areas. I'd like to be able to make a chart of that. So I'm going to make a chart. I have the ability to make bar charts, but I'm going to make a new pie chart. I can then start to drill down a little bit more choosing different types of offenses that I wish to display. Now I can make this look just a little bit better. I'm going to sum the totals of those selected fields. I'm going to remove that leader line, and I have the ability to view it in 3D. That really makes things kind of stand out and pop. These are some of the newest capabilities with visualization in ArcGIS Pro. Now, ArcGIS Pro works well in 2D, but if I put that same information into 3D, into a local scene, I'm able to view my data a little bit differently. Here I've got the crime incidents shown by the types of offense by count. I'm able to step through this and share this. Or I have the ability to take advantage of something new at 2.5 and create a very fluid animation. This allows me to be able to exaggerate and offset vertical content in 3D. This allows me to make this compelling video that explains and highlights my GIS data. I can share this as a map package or just share it through my portal. Then others can be able to make use of this and put it into their project. I can also share things through the use of import layouts. I'm going to make use of the import layout capability. Within Pro, I have 12 standard layouts. But because I opened a project template for my organization, I have an additional one that's been provided for me, customized and made specifically for my organization. I'm able to activate it. I'm able to choose which map I want to put into it. And I'm pretty much done. All the hard work's been done for me. At this point, I'd like to share it. I have the capability to print it. I do want to point out that the print feature now works along the side panel. I'm able to execute it and keep working in Pro, meaning that the printing capability doesn't take over Pro anymore. That is so cool. Along with the ability to print, I now have the ability to print in black and white, and I have the ability to utilize tiles, or if I want to do a little more advanced, I can share it electronically and I can export it. The export capabilities have also grown. I have lots of types that I can export to. One of the most popular is that PDF type. Now with PDFs, I'm able to activate the security and I'm able to utilize passwords. So I can securely share any documentation within my organization or even outside my organization. I also have a new file type called AIX. AIX stands for Adobe Illustrator Exchange. Now, graphic designers can make use of that free maps for Adobe Creative Cloud. That means that they'll be able to immediately use my maps and start designing on top of them without any additional Esri licensing. And last but not least, one of my favorite things in layouts is the ability to be able to manipulate text or text elements. I'm able to edit my vertices. So as we're looking at the Nile here, I have my text box over these continents, and it's kind of hard to read things. I want to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to change the segment to a curve. I'm going to add some additional vertices. And I'm going to drag and make things look a little bit better to that edge of that continent. There. With a few clicks, I've been able to make a much better cartographic product.
Awesome. Thank you, Zena. Okay, so I'm not there in front of y'all to stomp my foot on the stage. So if you see anything that you like in these demos, these slides are what to pay attention to. So feel free to take a screenshot of this. This gives you the most information about what we used and what we covered in those demos. So Zena just showed us several new enhancements and functions in ArcGIS Pro. It increases your speed, ensures data quality, and allows you to work more efficiently. All of these features make ArcGIS Pro the go-to desktop GIS for efficient data visualization and advanced analysis. Okay, I know it's been a couple minutes since our last poll, so I'll remind you, our poll question 2 was, are you using ArcGIS Pro? So I'm launching this next poll question. If you could answer both questions, if you are using ArcGIS Pro, what are the reasons you use it for? And if you're not, question number 2, why not? We'd love to know. Give you guys a couple more seconds. Awesome. Okay, so if ArcGIS Pro is your go-to desktop application, let's discuss our cloud-based mapping and analysis solution, ArcGIS Online. ArcGIS Online is a complete mapping and location platform, and it now has over 7 million users who have created maps with billions of views. New improvements include the next generation map viewer and support for local tracking. And it's important to remember that ArcGIS Online provides the foundation for amplifying your GIS by helping you provide GIS to anyone, anywhere, on any device at any time. Story Maps provides the ability to create powerful and compelling stories, combining narratives with maps, photos, videos, and other multimedia content. Over 1 million story maps have been published, and almost 3,000 new ones are published every single day. ArcGIS Story Maps, the next generation storytelling tool, makes it even easier to make a story map, and it has a mobile-first approach to design and performance. ArcGIS Story Maps are powered by ArcGIS Online and are one of the most efficient ways to amplify your GIS, as anyone can create them without experience with GIS. Needs and use cases are ever evolving and growing with ArcGIS Online. While many new apps and solutions have been created to help meet the demands, the map viewer has remained the same. You made numerous requests for enhancements for map viewer, and we listened. With these thoughts and ideas, we now have a beta version. Map Viewer Beta is the next generation map making tool for ArcGIS Online, now as a beta, and ArcGIS Enterprise in the future. It aims to inspire experimentation and creativity while providing an enhanced experience for key map authoring workflows. The new Map Viewer Beta is fast, intuitive, flexible, and built using ArcGIS API for JavaScript 4.x, which supports improved functionalities and new features. So let's pass it back to Zena and have a look.
So here we are. I'm signed into my ArcGIS Online organization. I have the ability to open Map Viewer Beta several ways. I have my app launcher with my new Map Viewer Beta icon. Or I can already be signed in. I can be looking at my content, and I can open an existing web map with Map Viewer Beta. So we're going to go ahead and do that. On the left side, I have choices to be able to add layers to my map, change my base map, add legends, save, share, and then on the right side, I have the capability to really refine those layers that I've added, refine the data, make it look better. I can style it, I can filter it, I can add pop-ups. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to add a layer that's been shared in my organization. Popular demographics in the United States. This layer has been curated for me to be able to show the annual growth rate of the population from 2018 to 2023 by county. I'm going to go ahead and change my base map to make it really stand out a little bit better. There we go. Now I have very minimal distractions with the data that I'm really concerned about looking at. Right now, I have the ability, I can see if I want it to show in the layer. I can adjust the transparency on the fly. And I can also set the visible range if I need to. So right now we're symbolizing by a single symbol. Let's go ahead and change that up. I'm going to choose to symbol by the total population. At this point, I can scroll through my fields or I can type it in. So that's pretty handy because if I had a long list of attributes, it would have taken me a while to find them. Now smart mapping takes over. It adjusted the symbology and found the right symbology that really works well with my data. Or I can take advantage of a new style called the dot density. The dot density makes use of the ability to be able to show large amounts of features in a more refined, detailed way. As I zoom in and out, I can see I have one dot equals 1,250. But if I zoom back out, now it equals 5,000. It just looks so much prettier displayed like this. So let's go ahead and explore our data just a little bit further to really get a good understanding of where people are going. To do this, I need to look at the annual growth rate, which is an attribute in my layer. So I'm going to change out that 2018 population. I want to look at that growth rate, so there it is, and I'm going to replace it. Again, smart mapping takes over. It's made this beautiful choropleth map for me, giving me an idea with the legend on the bottom of where the annual population, the growth rate is going to occur. The lighter the color, the more population growth. So the field we selected shows projected population growth. And that Map Viewer Beta had over 300 color ramps that I could have used. Now, I'm interested in areas with faster population growth. Let's filter those out just a little bit. That way, I can take out those counties that maybe have low population growth or even negative population growth. I'm going to add an expression. And I'm going to say it is at least. I have the ability to move my slider and I can see things change right away. Since it's a little, I really want to make just 2, so I'm just going to put it in and apply it. Now I'm looking at, we turn my legend back on, I'm looking at the areas that are going to experience at least 2% of faster population growth. So the map rendered super quick, right? I had over 3,000 records filter out in a matter of seconds. But to be able to really understand the changes in population, we need to remember that a change of 2% of growth rate in a rural area is different from the growth rate in an urban area. What probably would be more useful is the difference between the 2018 population and the 2023 population. So to do that, I can make use of Arcade. I can create an expression where I can say the 2023 population, I'm going to find the difference between that and the 2018 population, and I'm going to apply it. Again, smart mapping takes over for me. Let's zoom in just a little bit to where I'm located at today. I'm able to get a good idea, again, of the faster population growth along with the areas that are really populated. Now, what makes a great web map is a good pop-up. So I'm going to go ahead and configure my pop-ups. Pop-ups have really taken on a major overhaul. We've tried to give the users more control about what they want to do and what they want to see in that pop-up. So like right now, my pop-up really doesn't contain much information. It doesn't tell a good story about my data. I'm going to add some content. I have the ability to mix different types of content together. Here, I'm just going to add some text. So we've been talking about the 2018 population and the projected growth of areas and what the projected growth of that population could be in 2023. So I'm going to apply that, and right away I can see what my new pop-up is going to look like. It looks so much better. Now, if I turn my legend back on, I really have a product that I'm proud of and I'm ready to share. Now at this point, I could share it in a web app, or I could just share it as a web map. But to be able to really tell a good story, I would like to share it in a story map. So let's take a look at the new story maps. This is the story map builder. This story map builder combines the best of all of those original story map templates that everyone loves. The story maps continue to get updates weekly. So let's go ahead and start our story. Right away, I have the ability to give my story a title. We've been talking about understanding population change and really talking about where people are going and where did they come from. And it was a predicted look at the population change between 2018 and 2023. I can add an image. And then I can move on. Here I have the ability to add numerous different types of content. I'm going to go ahead and add a map. I'm going to add the finished map that someone in my organization finished earlier for me. I have the ability to decide how I want it to look. I'm just going to go ahead and place it. Again, I still have a little bit more control over the content. I can tell it how I want it to really look in the story map as a whole. And I can move on. At this point, I can even decide if I want that title to be in there or if I want to change it. So I'm just going to take it out for right now. So you get the idea. I can really create my story on the fly. So let's take a look at the finished product. Here's my new story map. I was able to add in a dot density map. I was able to make use of the floating panels that really tell my story about the population and where we predict that the annual growth rate is changing and where people are moving to. I also have the ability to be able to embed operations dashboards, other different types of ArcGIS content, and I have the ability to make that interactive for the user. That way they can really be able to understand my story a little bit better. At this point, to really share my story, I would like to embed it into a website.
Awesome. And not to mention how fast and dynamic that entire experience was. Thank you, Zena. So an updated design streamlines the workflow and helps you quickly transform your data into impactful maps. These maps are easily integrated into one of the many apps in ArcGIS Online. Through the highly performant workflows, you can be curious and ask deep questions. We love that so many users tried out story maps during the beta period. Your comments and ideas have resulted in so many improvements. Thank you. We encourage you to continue to contribute to the development of current and future applications through our early adopter programs. ArcGIS includes over 450 map and app configurations collectively referred to as ArcGIS Solutions. ArcGIS Solutions are free and open, and technical support is included with all Esri maintenance program subscriptions. When you're looking to solve a problem and you think Esri technology might be the answer, come here first. And if you find yourself looking for a while to find the right solution, remember that you always have an Esri account team to help you. So we understand we're in a pandemic right now, so we did want to show you a brief glimpse at an ArcGIS solution inspired by you, our users. The incredible Esri staff has stood up the ArcGIS solution specific to COVID-19 that your organization can use today. These include response solutions, a response hub template, and even business continuity solutions. So I think, Zena, you were gonna give us a quick look at what that looks like.
So here we are looking at solutions.arcgis.com. If you've not been here yet, you need to take a look. This website contains over 500 solution templates that we've tried to curate and make available to everyone across every industry. As you can see here, I have all the industries listed. There's so many. And like Alessandra talked about, we have new COVID solutions. We have some focused on the response and some focused on the business continuity. There's several ways to get to them. I wanted to highlight the story map that was recently made available by someone in our DC office. They've curated a beautiful story map that really talks about everything we're going through right now. They've also pulled together our Esri resources that are available for everyone. We have a COVID-19 GIS hub site where you can request GIS assistance through our Disaster Response Program, or known as DRP. You're able to request software, technical assistance and support, and also really learn to understand how to be able to deliver your information of what's going on in your community. We've outlined steps to be able to really make use of all of the data. Map the cases, map the spread, map the vulnerability populations, your capacity, and be able to communicate that back through maps. We also have samples of beautiful dashboards that have been curated, like the Johns Hopkins University dashboard. It's all over everywhere right now. So if you've not seen it, turn on your TV. There's also different samples of different types of dashboards in this that really have been made by our user community to be able to highlight and tell their stories and make the public aware of how they're responding to this pandemic. Again, this is available for you. We will be sharing the links after today's seminar. You can find all of the COVID-19 solutions on our solutions.arcgis.com website or reach out to your account team.
Exactly. And outside of COVID-19, those ArcGIS solutions we mentioned, there's an ArcGIS solution for every single industry. They're not limited to just field-based workflows. So our goal with these solutions is to provide best practice examples of how to put Esri core technology to work to solve the kind of challenges you face every single day. So how about we launch another poll question? Here we go. So we just showed you some of these solution templates. Have you deployed any of these solution templates in your industry? Awesome. I'll go ahead and close out the poll, share those results. So we have a lot in local government and emergency management, water, of course, state government. Awesome. Glad to hear that y'all are deploying those solutions. Thanks for participating. Now we are ready to get to the fun part, ArcGIS and Action. So this next section is all about ArcGIS and Action, as it says on the screen. So this is how GIS is used to support actual workflows. So today we'll be highlighting GIS being used specifically to amplify workflows in key areas like law enforcement, public works, engineering, and land records. Okay, so let's get started with this one. You know, there are two ways you can support your law enforcement department, right? So first, these individuals generally don't have a lot of GIS training. So getting them set up for success in the beginning will save them a lot of time in their day-to-day. So there are two ways you can support this department. First is getting the data accurate by geo-enabling the records management system. And then you can start using it for analysis. Second, you can showcase that using a crime dashboard. So the first workflow we'll walk you through is how to geo-enable your crime data. You can export from your CAD RMS system and even set up a scheduled import of your data into GIS on whatever interval you'd like. With this data, you're now able to map, analyze, and build needed applications. So we're now going to switch back to Zena, who will show you how to set this up.
So crime analysts work with a lot of data that can and should be mapped. Something that we hear from analysts is that it takes half a day to get an export of crime data from their CAD or RMS system. They then have to prep the data, then geocode the data, which are the steps that need to happen to be able to even map it. So a lot of time is spent just getting the data ready. We have to be able to have a better workflow to help make you more efficient. So if we can help you save your crime analysts some time, then they will be able to focus on analyzing the data and keeping our communities safe. So for example, we're looking at a crime analyst Excel spreadsheet that they typically might receive once a month from their RMS system. This spreadsheet shows all of the crimes that have occurred through October 2017 in Rochester, New York. I'm sorry, October 2019. And we received this from Rochester's open data site. So let's take a look at how we can use that in ArcGIS Pro. In ArcGIS Pro, I've also installed the Crime Analyst Toolbar. This is a free add-in. This toolbar supports many common crime analyst workflows, such as tools for data management, tactical, strategic, and even investigative analysis. Now, originally, this toolbar was designed for those crime analysts, but we are finding out that many of these tools can be helpful for non-law enforcement workflows. So here I am signed in to my ArcGIS Online organization. I've already opened the web map, and the feature service that I'm going to be editing. And if I open my attribute table, I currently have 24,651 crimes that have occurred from up until September 2019. So I need to be able to add in that new spreadsheet with 700 crimes from October. So it's going to be kind of hard to tell after I add these in where we're going to be able to see anything. So let's go ahead and maybe zoom in a little bit tighter. I'm going to choose this area here in the Maplewood district. This is a really cute little district with 20th century homes, and they're just gorgeous. It's a very beautiful area, and the people are very proud of their area. But honestly, we need to be aware of any crime is happening in this area or be able to detect any patterns. So crime analysts frequently import their data and process it. So we actually created a new tool called the Set Import. We're going to use it here. The Setup Import. And because I have an Excel spreadsheet, I had XY data in it. So I'm going to open that geoprocessing tool called Configure Record Import. I need to give my new configuration file a name. I need to choose the source table, which is going to be my crimes. I need to make sure I'm pointing to the right ArcGIS Online organization and I'm signed in. I need to be able to point that config file to an output. My records identifier is going to be my case number. My records date is going to be occurred through. And because I had XY data in there, I need to be able to point to it. That way I'll be able to geolocate those crimes. I want to make sure that the coordinate system aligns to that feature service. And I can match the schema. Now at this point, I would run it. But I've done this already ahead of time because it does take a few minutes. What I actually want to show is the power of the second tool that complements this one. The ability to be able to import records. So the import records is actually an output of the first tool. I'm going to find that configuration file that I made. And I'm going to run it. Now the records import tool is reading through all of my data in that spreadsheet, finding the data, finding the location, and geolocating it for me. It's also making sure to get rid of any duplicate records. This way I'm only appending new crimes to my data set. It takes a few minutes to run, and then I should be able to take a look at the new data. Okay, it's done. I'm going to refresh my map, and I can see my crimes have increased in my feature service. We now have over 25,000 crimes. So it worked. Something that I want to point out about this tool, I actually think there's a third step to it. This is probably the most important step. The ability to be able to schedule this to run at any time. I can have it run daily, weekly, or monthly. And I can also choose an end date and just set it to go. That will save me a lot of time. So I can focus on other things, like being able to focus on areas of Rochester that were concerned about crimes happening. This quaint little area here is having issues. We're starting to detect that crimes are coming in. Like there's 4 homes in a row that are experiencing different types of crime. So now that I've been able to detect this, I'm able to send this information to my police force. That way they can actually send someone out. I need to make sure I'm being able to tell them certain areas of the city that they can go and look at, because like everyone else, they're short-staffed. So I need to make sure I make good use of their time. Now, if I had other people utilizing or trying to make use of this data that I've been working with, I could share it to them in a web map. The reason I would do this, it's a little bit easier for them to work with. I've configured pop-ups ahead of time. They're able to read and understand what's going on. It's interactive. It doesn't require an intense amount of training, yet they're able to zoom in and out. They're looking at the same crime set I was. It's the same map we had open in Pro. So it can work wonders for those that need to be able to look at things and they might not be a crime analyst. Now the next step, and probably one of the most important steps, is being able to give this information to leadership. The best way to do that would be through an operations dashboard. We're looking at an operations dashboard here that has been built for the Philadelphia Police Department. Now this has been built for demonstration purposes only. But I can turn this over to my leadership. They're able to zoom in and out. They're able to interact and understand the data that we've been feeding to them. They're able to drill down a little bit by police division, maybe even down to districts, be able to filter down by different types of crime, be able to understand those common questions that they're always asked, what's happening in the last 28 days, the last 7 days, and then be able to read different types of details about different types of crime that is happening around the city. We've also set up the ability for them to be able to look at crime trends and even be able to compare what's happening now to what's happened last year at the same time. That way, they can actually be able to answer some of their own questions. So now you can see why leadership loves operation dashboards.
Exactly. And beyond what we've just shown you today, there's so much more you can do with ArcGIS to support your law enforcement team. Many of these workflows have out-of-the-box solutions that you can stand up quickly with minimal customization. And these apps have been created by Esri staff that have law enforcement backgrounds. I've highlighted some of the solutions that are available, but definitely suggest you take a look at all of the options. Zena just showed us how you can geo-enable crime data, do analysis with it in ArcGIS Pro, and put it in a dashboard. With ArcGIS, you can provide law enforcement with one platform that supports many missions. And then in summary, we use ArcGIS Pro 2.5, the crime analysis toolbar to import and update our crime data in GIS. And we also automated the geoprocessing tool and viewed crime data in a web map and an operations dashboard. So that was public safety. On the note of other public issues, the street infrastructure is critical to public works and operations in your city or county. The Public Works Department is usually the one tasked with making sure the roads stay in good condition by planning for long-term maintenance activities to avoid more costly repairs or even replacement. So before we begin, let's review a couple key roles in our Public Works Department. Of course, Public Works doesn't function without its field crews. Field crews generally spend their time performing inspections and overseeing repair work. They get to fill out a lot of pavement condition forms and turn them over to their supervisor. And this is our supervisor at Public Works, essentially the chief operations officer for the department. He or she reports to the Public Works Director, but also has an engagement with the city manager, the mayor, and all too often those angry city council members. Their work has been piling up because the city is growing and there are increasing demands on the street infrastructure. Our supervisor spends more and more time taking reports from the field and entering them into a spreadsheet some intern made probably 7 years ago. And a lot of the times, just because they're inundated with work, they live by the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" mantra. And here is our GIS manager. After meeting with Public Works, he sees the struggles they're dealing with and knows there's an easy way to optimize the workflows for their field crews and office staff, because everything they're doing is impacted by location. For Public Works to even listen to him, he knows he must provide a solution that doesn't increase their workload, frees time for the deputy director and field crew manager, and helps administrators make better, more justifiable decisions about where to put resources.
Now, our field crews are not just driving around all day looking for problems in the street. They need to be able to have a more modern way to learn about where problems exist. One is through Waze. Through the Connected Citizens program, cities and counties can form a partnership with Waze to provide and receive authoritative information in near real time. Citizens can report things like potholes, and then that information can go directly to Public Works in a dashboard just like we're looking at here. Likewise, Public Works can actually report back different types of things like road closures. Then Waze recognizes them at that authoritative source and makes it available to the users. Here we're looking at a dashboard for Lakeland, Florida. I have information here that can be really helpful to that Public Works department. They're able to see where construction's ongoing. They're able to see where accidents have occurred before they send their workers out for the day. We've even made it a little bit interactive for them to be able to turn on and off different types of layers. Now they're able to see where all the cameras are in this area. Now, many cities and counties do have that 311 to be able to turn in items to their Public Works. But if not, there's an easy to configure application called Citizen Problem Reporter. As you can see, this has actually been optimized for a mobile device. And we actually have a manager app then that the supervisor who receives the reports that come in, he's able to get a summary of these reports and be able to assign them to different people. So let's go ahead and submit a report. I've signed in, or I could have chose to be anonymous, but I'm going to report a road problem that I experienced on my way to work. As I start to submit things, I see other problem reports that have been submitted, and they are other potholes. I'm able to click on them, see what the status is, see different information about them, which is really good, but honestly, it's not my same report. So I'm going to submit a report. It was a pothole. I'm going to say it was in the intersection. And I could decide to put my name and my phone number and my email if I wanted to be contacted later on. I need to be able to choose the location of this. I could put in the address, but I really don't know. I just know it was on my way to work this morning. So I'm going to zoom in and find that intersection. There it is, just as I was starting to enter the freeway. I'm going to click to add it, and I can even submit a picture of it. Now I'm ready to report it back to Public Works.
So these apps are really useful, but there's one big problem with them, right? They require the public to report these back to the city. And I know we all get caught up in our daily lives, have big problems to address. So, maintaining street infrastructure is more than repairing potholes. It's understanding where there might be issues in 3 to 6 months. This is where GeoAI comes in, and this can be as simple as mounting a GoPro on your trash trucks that drive the city streets every single day. We can use the images gathered from trucks of our field crews and through machine learning understand where there are cracks or other road surfaces that we may need to take care of soon. These field images are compared to a known set of sample defects and receive a probability of the defect on the image. We can then take this data and analyze it on a dashboard to show where we need to prioritize our fieldwork in the city. Okay, so we've looked at a few ways we can get information about where work needs to be done. Now let's look at how our supervisor prioritizes these projects and our field crew updates information in the field.
Public Works needs to be able to dispatch those field crews in an efficient manner. Right now, that's done in the morning meeting, and the supervisor's likely not to see them again till the end of the day. We can make use of Workforce for ArcGIS. It's an app that provides supervisors the ability to assign projects to crew members and then be able to track their status throughout the day. So let's go ahead and create a work order assignment for our worker today, Alessandra. We see she's working, along with several others that are in the field. I can also see who's not working, but I know I'm going to assign it to her, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to create an assignment. I'm going to pick the assignment type. Since we've had a lot of potholes reported and other issues with the roads, I think we need to perform a PCI survey. Now, I don't really know the exact address, so I can click on the map. I see we have lots of reports right here. I'm going to go ahead. I can either zoom in or out to decide where I want her to go. I'm just going to choose right there. That way she can get all of them in that area. I'm going to make sure to assign it to her. There she is. And I'm going to make it a medium priority for today. I'd like her to finish it today by the end of the day. So I'm going to choose 5 o'clock. At this point, I can provide additional notes for her. I'm going to tell her to see the photos that have been attached. I could even upload a paper work order if I needed to. I'm going to attach that photo that the user submitted. And I'm going to go ahead and create the assignment. So let's go ahead and see how Alexandra is going to tackle this work for the day. I think she's going to use Navigator for ArcGIS.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I was on mute there. Okay, so let's go back. Never a good demo if something doesn't go wrong. Okay, so what I did was I was out in the field and I got an assignment from my supervisors. So I went ahead and acknowledged receipt of that assignment and started working on it in Workforce. So yes, Dina, I am working out in the field. And once I arrive to my project site, I need to inspect and assess the situation as well as collect information. I was already doing that in a manual method, but now I'm going to do this through this intuitive data collection app called Survey123. Now Zena won't have to wait for me to get back into the office to get those results. She's getting them in real time once I submit this. And all those updates are being fed into our authoritative platform in real time.
So let's go ahead and look at all those work orders that have come in. Right now, we're looking at all of the WAYS reports that have come in to Public Works for this last year. I have lots of assignments. I need to be able to figure out a better way to be able to assign my crews to go out and do this work. I can make use of a tool in ArcGIS Online called the Plan Routes tool. It's going to create a layer for me. I know that I'm going to be sending 5 crews and trucks out, so I'm going to make it truck time. I'm going to add my start location, which is right about here for our office. I'm going to have them start for the afternoon session at 1 o'clock after their lunch break. I do want them to return to the start. That would be good. And I do have 5 crews going out this afternoon. They've told me that throughout the day, they can do maybe about 10 stops. So since we're just doing the afternoon shift, I'm going to make it 5 stops. They've also said by the time they take a report, they look at all the information, they might actually do some work to the potholes or the surveys. It takes them about 20 minutes. Now, normally I would set this to an 8-hour day if they were going out at the beginning of the morning. But since they're going out for the afternoon, I'm going to say limit it to 4 hours because I don't want to pay them overtime today. It's going to produce that result layer for me. Before I get going, I am concerned about credits, so I'm going to take a look. 5 credits. I'm good to go. So at this point, I would run it. It does take a little bit to run, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn on the routes that I ran earlier. Here I have 5 different colored routes. If I zoom in a little bit tighter, you're able to see that each route has numbered stops. These are the stops that have been designated in the most optimal, efficient way for my workers to be able to tackle the day. This way, I've already decided what's the good way for them to get through traffic, to navigate maybe a housing area, and really be efficient for the rest of the afternoon. So let's go ahead and see how Alessandra's going to make use of this.
All right, thanks, Zena. So the field crews like myself need a simple app to provide optimized route to work projects. Sometimes they're in parts of the city with poor cell coverage or places I've never even been to. So Navigator for ArcGIS provides a way to get turn-by-turn routing online or even offline. So I'm going to take one of those pre-planned routes from the pothole reports and display them on my device. So it's Thursday. Let's go ahead and hit that. Okay, gosh, a long day, but let's get straight to it. So I'm going to go ahead, hit go, start on my way, have that mounted. And so I'm getting those turn-by-turn directions without even having to look at my screen.
Go southwest on North Raleigh Boulevard.
But you know what, y'all? It's been 15 minutes. It's been a hard day already. I'm going to take a quick 15-minute break for donuts and before I start work. Once I'm finished with that, this is actually a new feature. I can go ahead and resume navigation and continue back on
navigation.
My route. And I can even use
field
collection apps.
Turn left.
Like quick capture
In
while
a quarter
I'm
of a
driving
mile.
my passenger.
Turn left on Capitol Boulevard, US 4.
Any potholes
1
on the
south.
way. All right, so back to you, Zena.
So back here in the office, all the information is being made available to me through my operations dashboard. This is my supervisor's dashboard that I'm looking at, which gives me an instant insight into everything my team is doing and all the work going on out in the field every day. I'm able to see where we're at with failed road conditions. I'm able to drill a little bit deeper and find out information, see what my field crew, who's working, who's not, be able to see where we're at with that road condition survey, and still keep track of all those pothole reports coming in. We've got our map broken down by districts. That way, when the public works director comes in and asks me the status of a project, or that city manager comes in and asks me what's going on in each district around the city, I'm able to answer exactly what's going on with the authoritative information immediately.
Okay, so we just covered a lot of apps in this workflow, so definitely wanted to show you this slide about field data collection to outline what we did. Because they are all in the Esri suite of field apps, they all work together and complement each other to get the work done. So these apps we've used, the Citizen Problem Reporter, the Waze dashboard, maybe even a simplified version of this operations dashboard can be part of our ArcGIS Hub initiative, showing the work our city is doing to improve our street infrastructure. So what Zena has done has been to optimize a workflow that was already in place. Our supervisor's workload has decreased, especially when it comes to answering the questions she gets from administrators. She's improved how field crews are dispatched, how they collect data, and how decision makers see and analyze this information. All right, so I'm gonna make sure y'all are still awake and paying attention. So we're gonna launch a new poll about Esri mobile products. So what products are you using? Select all that apply. All right, y'all are really fast voters. I'm gonna close this poll and share the results here. So we have a lot of people using those mobile applications, a huge variety of those. Collector is actually our most popular mobile app, but it looks like Survey 123 is up there as well with Operations Dashboard and Explorer. And y'all and none, let's get you on some of those mobile apps. They're included with your software. Great, thanks guys. Okay, so our next demo, this is where I would ask for a show of hands, but I'll trust you since I can't see you guys. So I'll go ahead and assume that everyone on the line has an engineering department in your organization. And if you have an engineering department, that means they're probably using some sort of Autodesk product like AutoCAD, Civil 3D, or Revit. And you probably recognize at least one person in this photo. If not, you're maybe in the wrong webinar. But in 2017, a huge partnership was announced between Esri and Autodesk. So where are we going with this and why was this partnership created? Well, by 2040, the Earth's population will be 9 billion people. And 6 billion of those people will be living in cities. So this means to meet the demand in just the United States, we need to build 1,000 buildings per day and spend $3.3 trillion more per year to build the infrastructure needed to meet this added demand. And this isn't just buildings, y'all. Think about all of the services and utilities that are going to be needed to support this explosive growth. So users like us need to make sure that we have the tools we need to support our constituents, and we don't want these tools to make our work more difficult. So our companies are looking at ways to streamline the process to plan, design, build, and operate their assets. An effective way to streamline this is by putting the data at the center of this process and allowing users to access the applications they need to support their workflows. So now with the Esri Autodesk partnership, this can be done like never before. So what does this mean for you as a GIS manager, administrator, or even user? Well, if your organization is using Autodesk products, now those users of Civil 3D, InfoWorks, AutoCAD, Revit can access ArcGIS Online or Enterprise, allowing data and information to seamlessly flow between these platforms. So you can enable your collaboration, support your constituents, and break down silos. So since I can't hear you guys, I'm assuming you're clapping and you're more excited than golden retrievers at a puppy party. This is huge. This means you don't have to email those shapefiles back and forth. So you're giving them the ability to view, edit, or publish data from within the Autodesk product. So we are giving them the ability to have that controlled access to your geographic system of record. So in addition to that, your entire organization can access that BIM data within your content of your geographic system of record. You know what, maybe Zena, we just need to show them how easy this is. So would you mind pulling this up to show our users how to view, edit, and publish data? All right, great. Okay, so those of you who answered no in our earlier poll, if you're not using ArcGIS Pro, this is what it looks like. I'm just kidding. This is Autodesk. So wanted to make a note here. This is not an Esri product. This is historic for us. This is the first time we are demoing AutoCAD here. So big note, sorry for that little panic of ArcGIS Pro here. So go ahead, Zena.
Okay. As a former drafter in my previous life, I only wish I had the capabilities I'm going to show you right now. Now, AutoCAD users will be able to open your GIS system of record data, and with the appropriate permissions, they'll be able to edit that data in AutoCAD. So as Alessandra pointed out, we have that massive need to fill by 2040 with 9 billion people and the associated infrastructure demands. In a city like Cambridge, Massachusetts, we're going to show you how to simplify some workflows between GIS and the engineering department. So here I am in AutoCAD 2020. Hopefully it looks familiar to those that have used AutoCAD before. The one special thing, I've installed the free plugin ArcGIS for AutoCAD. Now, what makes this tool powerful is the ability to be able to add data. Here I am signed into my ArcGIS Online organization. At this point now, inside of AutoCAD, I have the ability to access the living atlas information, my content, my favorites, my groups. You get the idea. All of ArcGIS Online is available to me inside of AutoCAD. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this file here on traffic markings. What's special about this file? It was actually a CAD drawing. We opened it in ArcGIS Pro. We published it to ArcGIS Online as a hosted feature service, and now I'm pulling it back down in AutoCAD. At this point, I really don't have a lot of good context about where I'm at, so I'm not really able to see where those traffic markings are. Let's go ahead and add some imagery. Now at this point, I could add a base map, but instead I'm going to add this 2018 Cambridge Ortho imagery. This is awesome. I'm able to add my own imagery that I published and made available in ArcGIS Online. Now, if I zoom in, things definitely make a lot more sense. I'm able to see those traffic markings line up to the intersections. I'm able to examine my CAD drawing and really make sure that everything's correct. So now I'm really ready to get started with some work. Again, I'm going to add some more data from my ArcGIS Online organization. I'm going to add in my sewer infrastructure. Now this is information that is being maintained by the GIS department. But because some work's been done, it's now time to update the as-built and make sure everything's correct. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look. I can see I've got my sewer infrastructure that's come in. It's a little bit busy, so I'm going to turn off my traffic markings. And at this point, with the plugin's capabilities, I have the ability to do different things to the items that I've added in, like the imagery. I'm able to change the transparency. That way I'm able to see my sewer infrastructure a little bit better. Now as I zoom in and items render a little bit more, I'm able to see that there's some new homes that have been built here that are not connected to that sewer main. And I'm sure that's been done. So I need to update this drawing to reflect that. So I'm going to do some basic AutoCAD functions. I'm going to extend that sewer line, make sure that it's connected. Take a look at the information. Again, another powerful aspect about this plugin is the ability to be able to edit attributes. So I'm actually going to edit GIS attributes in AutoCAD. I'm going to verify the material type. I know that it's polyvinyl chloride and that the line is actually 10-inch diameter. And I'm going to go ahead and apply those edits. So I've just edited the GIS attributes. Now at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with the work I've done, and I'm going to synchronize it back to ArcGIS Online. I'm able to get a quick summary of everything that's occurred and any updates that I've made. I can select those and synchronize it. Now the reason this has been kept a manual process is because maybe I, in the engineering department, want to make some other changes, or maybe want to do some scenarios and run through some information before I send any authoritative data back to the GIS department. I have control over that. It looks like my synchronization is done. So I'm going to go to my ArcGIS Online organization and make sure that the information came in. So I'm going to open my information in my new web map beta. There it is. The sewer line has come in. So I'm very happy that the work that I did in the engineering department now has been fed back to the GIS department. The next part of this would be really, I need to send workers out in the field that need to verify it with feet on the ground. So let's take a look at Alexandra going out in the field with our most popular mobile app, Collector.
Great, thanks, Dina. So I'm out in the field. You can see that the information was even fed to me in real time, and I'm looking at that same sewer map that Zena and Engineering just updated. So I'm at this job site. Let's make sure that all the information is in there. Yep, polyvinyl chloride, 10-inch diameter. Perfect. So yes, wanted to verify that that sewer main was installed, and it's indeed in our system. But I do notice that I need to collect information on a brand new manhole that has been installed at the end of the sewer pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and collect that as a point. 1 second, let me go back to my bookmarks here. There we go. Zoom back in. Okay, we'll collect this as a point. Oh, hang on. There we go. I want to make sure I get this accurate for Zena. Okay, we'll collect here. It is a manhole. And since it's brand new, let's see, the manhole condition is excellent, better be, right? And we'll fix the cover type. It's a 42-inch diameter. So I'll go ahead and submit that, and that's going to be fed back into our authoritative platform.
So here I am back in the office. Now I definitely want to be able to double check Alexandra and make sure she did some work in the field. So I'm going to go ahead and open my web map again. Great, the information has come in. I can see she's done her inspection. She also was able to add in a manhole that we missed during our as-built edits. I'm able to see the attributes she collected in the field and verify the information is correct. So I'm very pleased with the work that's been done today. So everything we've just shown you here today is a common workflow. Being able to edit your GIS data, but being able to take it a step further into engineering and have them edit and update maybe as-built information, and then take it out in the field and do a little bit more. All of this can be done today. It's something that you can make use of and optimize your workforce.
Awesome. So to recap, in summary, with the new partnership between Esri and Autodesk, drafters or those in engineers can now update and manage authoritative data inside your GIS system of record that they're in charge of. So this allows them to be responsible for that authoritative data they own, which can offload work from that GIS department. Additionally, now through this new ArcGIS for AutoCAD plugin, They now have access to that GIS data, which they never had before. So again, no more sending back and forth those shapefiles. And you can unlock the power of GIS directly inside Autodesk products and amplify the GIS data we've spent years curating. All right, so we know that maintaining land records is a process that rarely slows down. In a rapidly changing community, the GIS staff and local assessor are constantly on the hook to enter new deeds in a timely manner and to manage changes in property assessments. In our community of San Antonio, and probably your own, we're watching these neighborhoods revitalize around a local brewery or new international restaurant scene. So old homes are being renovated and new condominiums are being built almost every day, it seems. So as the community changes, what does this mean for the staff workflow and how can we improve that workload? As GIS professionals, you could have a role in this process. So now we're going to show you ways to amplify your land records.
So here we are in ArcGIS Pro again. I want to point out that starting at 2.4, we launched the new parcel fabric. This was so exciting. Let's take a look at Sheboygan County, Wisconsin. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to create a parcel fabric using the county's text parcel polygons. So when you installed ArcGIS Pro 2.4, we included what was known as tasks. Tasks guided you systematically through the process of migrating your data into the parcel fabric. Tasks are pre-configured steps that guide you through the workflow or a business process. They can be authored from scratch and shared in your organization. Or you can start by the ones that ArcGIS Pro comes with. Something that I want to point out at 2.5 is the ability now to have the tasks right inside of ArcGIS Pro. They've come preloaded in the insert ribbon. So let's take a look at those. One of the most common ones is being able to upgrade my information from ArcMap into ArcGIS Pro. I need to set up my information model, which I've actually done ahead of time over here on the left in my table of contents. I need to load my data into the parcel fabric, and I'm going to use this guided task to do that. I'm going to append my source data, so I'm going to input my original parcels. I'm going to choose the export location. I'm going to make sure to enable parcel topology because that's very important. That way I have good rules applied to my parcels. And I'm going to have it create parcel records. That way I have record names in my attribute fields. And then last, I'm going to build the parcel fabric. So let's take a look at what that looks like. If I would have clicked and run through all of this, here would have been my end results. I did it ahead of time because it does take a few minutes to run. Now I'm actually looking at my new parcel fabric in ArcGIS Pro. I've got all my authoritative information in Pro and I'm ready to go. Now, one of the most common workflows that happens with land records is merging records. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. To get started, I need to create a new record. I need to give it a name. I'm going to merge it, so I'm going to make it a merge record type. I need to record when I've done this. And I'm going to go ahead and create it. Now I'm ready to get to work. I'm going to use the new parcel ribbon and the merge tool. It helps me with what I need to do. I'm going to select the polygons. I'm going to review everything that's been selected. The layer I want it to go to is definitely my tax layer. I need to give it a new name since it's going to be a merged record. I can even choose different items if I want to. And I'm going to go ahead and say merge. And it's been done for me. Now, the nice thing about Parcel Fabric is I have this historic layer. I can turn it back on, and I have all my historic data. I have the original parcel lineage. I did not lose anything. I'm able to go back to it at any time I need to, if I need to verify any records. This is great. It did it for me, and I didn't even have to worry. Now, before I'm completely done, I should make sure that the COGO attributes are updated. And there's a tool for that. Before I get started, I need to make sure I'm just going to select only the text lines. And I'm just going to say update my COGO. There, it's done. All of my COGO records are ready to go. This has saved me so much time. So, like Alessandra said, more and more there's a big push for dense urban developments, which means more multi-floor buildings. Everything I've done so far has been in 2D. But let's explore some new custom parcel types that are available in 3D. Before I get started, I want to review the plat record that came in with this information. As I start to review the record, I see there's a level A. If I go through the rest of the records, I'm able to see a level B, a level C, so I definitely know it's a multi-story building. From these, I'm able to gather the information about how high this is and what the level is. I'm able to derive that from the upper and lower elevations. So with that, I can make use and I can create different types of floors within my building. Right now, I'm on the first floor when I've enabled my range. I also want to point out those parcel types. I've really narrowed things down and I've got things identified by my residential parcel type along with the commercial parcel type. I'm able to see that information throughout. I'm also able to apply that record type through definition queries and really be able to understand my data better. I'm able to review the information. And then I can start to make use of that range that I put into effect. I'm able to step through the building and start to see different floors and how everything lines up, making sure I've done my work correctly. I also have the information from the original CAD drawings. I can turn that on, and now I can see the original lines, but this becomes so messy. It's really hard to be able to distinguish what each floor looks like, even though I've broken them out with my range. So to make better use of this information, I'm going to view it in a scene. So I've been able to extrude the data, extrude my floor information, and view it. I have my residential areas again in light tan. I have my commercial areas, and I also have air rights, which is very important to any of the planners. This way, I'm able to show them what it looks like in 3D. They're able to get a good idea about the information, read the pop-ups, understand the data. I also have the range again, where I can really view each floor. So right now I'm looking at floor 9. I can get a good idea of what things look like even by separating my information. If I wanted to just see a portion of the building, I can do that at this time. I can see floors 5 through 10. This is very useful if I'm really just concerned about what's going on in this area and I want to review the data. I also could take it a step further and apply the information with the condo data with values. This way I get a good idea of what's going on in the building and exactly the value of those condos as it relates to land records and the assessor's office. This is all really good information. This really helps make my job easier in the land records. But honestly, where do assessors spend most of their time? In a spreadsheet. Now, I like spreadsheets. I like Excel. But honestly, I really can't understand the data very well. I can input data, but I'm really not able to see any trends or any patterns about the area. I'm really not able to get a good view of where things are happening, maybe foreclosures, sales, or where I even need to send appraisers out. So I can make use of insights for ArcGIS. Now, insights for ArcGIS, the version I'm using is in ArcGIS Online, known as the Software as a Solution. I have an open workbook. I have my spreadsheet data that I brought in, along with my CAMA data, my parcel lines and parcel points, which were already published and made available in my ArcGIS Online organization. And I even took my sales spreadsheet and combined it with my parcels to create this map here. I can activate my cards. I can get a good look at, these are all my parcel points. I'm going to turn on my sales information. Now I'm able to kind of see where everything's happening. I could not see this in a tabular form in that Excel spreadsheet. I can even make a heat map on the fly. Now I can really get a better idea of where the sales are occurring. I've also created a card that focuses on my KPIs. This way I'm making sure to hit all my key performance initiatives. I've made another card because I'm concerned about this area here and I really want to know the sales price within this neighborhood. So I have that information and I have the ability to see where it's at on the map. Now, I'm concerned about foreclosures. So I can find my sales ratio information in my spreadsheet and make a new card. Insights recognizes the data for me and helps me with what I can make. I'm going to make a box plot. These whiskers indicate foreclosures. The higher indicates where more foreclosures are happening in my area. This is definitely a concern for me because maybe I need to get some inspectors out in the field to look at that. We might be outdated in our appraisals, so we need to get to work. All of these are interactive with each other. I'm able to see how it reflects in my areas. I'm also able to use cross filters, and then it becomes more interactive. Now, I've been looking at the data spatially, but I want to take a look at the temporal data. I really want to get an understanding of when sales and foreclosures are happening. So for that, I have date information in my spreadsheet. Insights parses that information down and makes it a little bit easier for me to work with. I've got month data and year data that I'm going to pull over into another card. Again, Insights helps me with what type of information, what type of chart I can make. I'm going to create a heat chart. I have the ability to make these bigger as I need to. I'm able to see now what month things are happening. Because I've enabled cross filters, I'm really able to drill down and see where more foreclosures and sales are occurring within my area. Kind of makes sense that more things are happening in the summer months, when people are most likely to move if they have children. This is all really good information that really helps me make decisions and really helps me make use of my people that maybe need to go out in the field. Another nice feature about Insights, it actually creates a model for me on the backside. It records all of the steps that I've done to this point. That way, I'm able to save it and share it. I can share it as a page, a model, or a theme. So since this is a model, I'm going to make it a model. I'm able to share it with everyone in my ArcGIS Online organization. And I'm able to share it with specifically the land records group. That way, people in my team can run the same analysis over and over and we get the same answers. This is really good. This makes sure we're all on the same wavelength. So everything I've shown you here today is a more streamlined and repeatable process for that assessor and the assessor's office to be able to do. They're able to view, analyze, and understand their land records data.
Perfect. So on our journey with land records, we started in a growing community and focused on efficient parcel management using ArcGIS Pro. Next, we discussed how insights for ArcGIS can benefit assessors by identifying outliers and patterns in their sales data, amplifying GIS in yet another department. Okay, so we just showed you 4 examples of ArcGIS in action in context of supporting your organization. Obviously, there are a lot of other ways that ArcGIS can help any organization. So now we're going to show you a best practice of how to amplify your GIS by applying this ArcGIS technology to initiatives in your organization. Okay, so the bad news here is that it's time to wrap our webinar, but we did want to point out some key resources available for you to consider. We know this process and executing a geospatial strategy can be really daunting, but please know you're not alone. So first, Esri has a wealth of documents available to help you get started, like this one, how to approach to maximize impact. And product-wise, Esri publishes best practices for certain products or even the ArcGIS platform. Documents like this are revised at least 3 times a year. And documents like this include the keys to success for making this happen: people, data, process, and technology. And now let's talk about you. One of the great ways to ensure continued and long-lasting success and personal growth is via lifelong learning. So believe it or not, Esri does more than just create software. We also focus on professional development for you with training and massive open online courses and books of various kinds. So many of the latest books are about helping you understand how to craft technology. A lot of key resources also include student use and personal licenses for affordable access to ArcGIS, unlimited e-learning, definitely take advantage of that, blogs, podcasts, webinars, social media. We have ArcNews, ArcUser, Young Professionals Network, certification, and of course the GeoNet community, which you should be participating in. So know that Esri is here for you. There's an abundance of resources and a planned process to follow, and most importantly, an Esri account team to assist you. Another community you should be familiar with is our early adopter community. So by becoming involved, you'll be able to build a better understanding about the latest updates in ArcGIS and what products are coming. And the best part, you'll be the first to test new products and capabilities and share feedback before they're launched. Another resource available to you is the Esri US Regional Hub user engagement sites powered by ArcGIS Hub. So the idea here is to provide two-way engagement platform where you can connect with your local Esri office to stay engaged, informed, and inspired. So be sure to visit our site and sign up to follow it to receive updates about future GIS events. Zena and I are both in this San Antonio Regional Office Hub. Obviously, this is kind of the Southwest last seminar, but if you're in a different part of the country or even around the world, there is a local Esri Regional Office Hub that is for you. Okay, and again, we know these are trying times. We're all in a pandemic. We're all in this together. So one last community we want you to be aware of is the newly created GeoNet community focused on the COVID-19 situation and resources. So with any of our products, we encourage you to check out this GeoNet community to interact with and learn from your peers in other communities, and we are here to help you. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up with two final poll questions. Let me get those pulled up for you. Okay, so going back to the hub site, have you deployed an ArcGIS hub site? Let me know. Okay, and I'll end polling here, share the results. So we do have a couple users who have launched an ArcGIS hub site, and that's okay. We know this is a brand new resource available to you, but definitely check it out. It's awesome. I know internally we've launched a lot of hub sites. Like I mentioned, I manage our renewable energy industry, and I've actually launched a demo hub site so that my clients can try out the products and understand how they work. So if you are in that no section, it's okay, but feel free to reach out to your Esri staff and they will help you get started. And the next poll question is about COVID-19. So have you deployed any sort of COVID-19 solution, like the hub, dashboard, applications, business continuity solutions? We would love to know. And I'll wrap that up here. All right, so we have a lot more yeses in this one. That's great. We're really happy to hear that you've used those resources available to you. If you're no and you want to get started, you don't know how to move forward, again, reach out to Esri support staff or visit that website that Zena showed earlier. And yeah, we're here to help you and your business and our community. Okay. So to end our time together and why we gathered here today, Zena and I encourage you to make a bigger difference in your organization and community by amplifying your GIS. Expand the use of GIS to new users in your organization to increase the benefits of your GIS and get the most out of your investment. Then take your GIS to the next level by increasing the amount, importance, intensity, and strength of your GIS. And finally, increase your likelihood of success by creating and executing a geospatial strategy. At Esri, we and our partners are here to help you. All right, so again, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us. You will be receiving an email with links to additional resources, and there will be a survey, so feel free to fill that out. As Harry mentioned, we'll be sending out a recording of this presentation, and then the full-blown ArcGIS User Seminar presentation that we were able to give around the country will be available soon as well. So please stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you again for your time today. Have a good one.